For most of my adult life, I thought that getting help meant I was weak, especially as a man. I tried to lose weight on my own, failed countless times, but I also succeeded. But the thing I really struggled with was consistency. I just really couldn't see consistent results. I'd gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, and each time I thought it was me. I thought it was me because I was trying to do it on my own and I just wasn't succeeding. But everything turned around when I finally got help from a weight loss team. And I've lost 65 pounds and kept it off for over a year. If you're new here, I'm Q, and today we're talking about a very personal topic, my weight loss journey. So first of all, let's get 3 things out of the way. I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving any medical advice, and I'm certainly not promoting any particular service. In late 2022, my mother's health began to fail her in a pretty significant way, which for most people, when they start seeing their parents start to get sick, it really makes you think about your own health, you know? So I decided, hey, time to go to the doctor. Let's go get a checkup. Went to the doctor, had the blood work done and everything, and it turns out my A1C, which is a measure of blood sugar, was borderline high. And this was a wake-up call for me because the last thing I wanted to do was get diabetes. I was becoming pre-diabetic. Not only was my A1C high, my weight had ballooned up to 230 pounds. So it was time to take and make a change. But I had no idea where to start. Sitting there in my doctor's office, I looked at the doctor and I said, hey, can you help me lose weight? Like, what can I do? Like, I don't want to get diabetes. What are some things I can do to lose weight? Do you have any services, any help or anything you can offer me? And my doctor looked at me and he said, you just need to work on your willpower. You just need to improve your willpower. Willpower. Now look, I'm a short dude. I just turned 50, right? When you're only 5'6" and you weigh 230 pounds, you ain't doing too good. So at this point I realized I'm gonna need to get some help. It's gonna take more than willpower to lose weight. I really needed help with being consistent. So I left the doctor's office feeling quite deflated, knowing I likely won't have the willpower to succeed because I tried that before a lot of times, doing all kinds of different kinds of diets and all the things, you know the things. But one thing was for sure, I was motivated because when I saw those A1C results, I decided it was really time to get my act together. Now, turns out I'm not the only one who struggles with weight in my family. Obesity tends to be a genetic issue. I have a sibling who is also struggling with their weight, and they were finding success by taking a version of a weight loss drug. It's a product called semaglutide, also known as Wegovy. And this was a compounded version of Wegovy, and she was doing it under medical supervision. And so I said to myself, if she's seeing success with this, maybe it can help me too, because again, my A1C was going up, right? My blood sugar was going up, and these drugs are used to treat blood sugar issues. So this prompted me to try to figure out, well, how do I get access to this, right? Because it's something my doctor should have known about at this point, but he didn't offer that. He offered me improve your willpower. So I said to myself, all right, we're gonna have to go online and find a way to get access to this particular type of drug, because maybe it can help me with my willpower. So I decided to investigate, started looking into Wegovy, because it was able to help my sibling, it should be able to help me. I needed a solution that was going to fit within my existing health insurance. I needed something more than just a prescription though. I needed a team. I needed some people around me. I think I needed, maybe I need a nutritionist. Maybe I need a doctor. Maybe I need to have a weight loss coach, an exercise person, something, right? Something more comprehensive than what I had before in the past. I struck gold when I found Form Health. Form Health is an online solution that's clinically backed with personal coaching, medical supervision for diet, exercise, and weight loss using a convenient telehealth app right off of my phone. Now, this video is not about Form Health, and I'm not sponsored by Form Health. I'm just telling you about my experience with them. There are many other services out there like Form Health, and I encourage you to go check those out. The most important thing is I realized that this could be a path for longer term weight loss success. So I reached out to them to get help. That's the most important step I took. I got help with my weight loss struggles. It was time to do something significant, and it was going to require an investment. It was going to require me to invest my time and my energy. I was going to invest my own funds because I had to pay for this, some of this out of my own pocket. It wasn't a lot, but it's enough that it's like you're not going to waste your time. You're going to want to be successful with it. Here are the things that Form Health did for me. Form Health offered a pathway to science-based nutrition, medical expertise, moral support, which is really important when you're trying to lose weight, coaching, and access to medically supervised GLP-1 medication. So what can a GLP-1 do? What did it do for me? Well, let me tell you what it did for me. There are some lifestyle changes that you need to make when you're trying to lose weight, and that isn't anything any different when you're taking a GLP-1 drug. It's just that the GLP-1 drugs really help you. They help you be consistent. They help you, perhaps, in some ways, in a lot of ways, with your willpower. Taking the GLP-1 drug did these things for me. I was able to eat less food. I was able to eat healthier food. I was able to keep track of what I ate. That was something that came with the Form app, right? The Form Health app. I had regular meetings with my doctors, my dietitian, and they helped monitor my progress. They gave me advice. They helped me modify my diet. They told me what I was doing well and some things I needed to change because it was really cool, right? They're looking at my blood test results, monitoring my weight loss because using the program came with a scale that was connected to the cellular network. So anytime I got on the scale and weighed myself, they got to see my weight loss results. And the really cool thing in the app is it tracks your weight loss results. So you can see over time, right, going down, because that's really the goal. Also, within the app, every time I ate, I took a picture of my food and typed some notes in there about what I was eating. So in this way, I was keeping track of my food with a picture library or a picture diary, which was really easy to do, right? No more counting calories and things like that. It was more looking at the portion sizes and macronutrients, making sure I was eating enough protein and make sure I was getting enough vegetables. Other aspects of the changes I made in my life was getting consistent exercise, right? And I didn't go crazy with the exercise. I just walked and hiked because those are the two things I like to do. I used to lift weights a lot, but through lifting weights and unfortunately some injuries in doing so, decided, hey, let's walk. Because one thing I know for sure, walking is a great form of health. It's a great form of exercise and has cardiovascular health improvements and benefits that go beyond, right, what working on a treadmill can do because you're outside, getting fresh air, getting sunshine, and it's a great way to help your mental health beyond just your physical health. One of the most important things I had to do, right, is remind my family, hey, I'm on a diet and I can't eat that stuff, right? The stuff they wanted to eat, couldn't eat it. Had to remind them of that all the time, especially my mom, my dear mom. She loves me so much. She always wanted to give me cookies and candies and cake. And that's the beauty of what the GLP-1 drug and the support I had from Form Health. I wasn't just accountable to myself. I was accountable to them. And the next time I met with them, I didn't want to say, oh, look, I, ate half a cake or ate three pieces of cake or something I might have done in the past, right? So that was a major change for me, right? Just eating healthier. Another key thing was eating my own food. In other words, I made my own food. And this helped me with portion control. It helped me with portion control. It helped me cook the food cooking, I won't say more natural or organic, not necessarily, right? I cooked the food myself. I chopped up the vegetables. I cooked the meat. I cooked the rice. I cooked the pasta. I prepared it all. I portioned it out in all those little cool little containers, right? That you can portion out food in. And because of that, I was making sure I was getting enough calories and as well getting enough protein, but controlling portion sizes. And in doing so, that really was key to me being able to lose weight. One of the biggest things I did that really helped me was intermittent fasting. Now, you might say, oh, here we go with the intermittent fasting thing. Well, let me tell you why intermittent fasting worked for me. Fundamentally, like most people, come 10 o'clock, I want a snack. And what do we eat at 10 o'clock at night? We're not eating celery. We're not eating a salad. Not eating bananas. Maybe some people eat bananas. You're not eating apples. In other words, you're not eating healthy food at 10 o'clock at night, right? We all know all the things that we eat at 10 o'clock at night. So I decided to boost my chances of success. I was going to stop eating after 7 p.m. and not eat again until after 7 a.m. the next day. So that's just a 12-hour fasting period. And let me tell you what happened. Immediately, I started sleeping better because I wasn't going to bed with food in my stomach. So the intermittent fasting helped me sleep so much better. And it wasn't hard to do. Once you did it consistently for about 2 weeks, not eating late at night was not a problem. And I know it really helped me control my cravings and kind of just have a sense of calm and peace when it came to food. Food was no longer dictating what I needed to do. And you know, I just thought of this, and this is really key for what the GLP-1 did for me. The little voice in my head, I don't know what you want to call it. You probably know what I'm talking about. The little voice in your head that's like, get some food. Get some food. If you're not feeling good, if you had a rough day at work, if you just had a little spat with your kids, right? Or a spat with your spouse, that voice, slowly but surely, went away. It just went away. That's the first thing. Second thing, eating, you're like, I think I'm full. You take another bite. Yep, I'm full. I feel like if I eat any more food, I'm going to get sick. And that's what the GLP-1s do. Not only do they make you feel full, it's almost like the signal in your brain. It's like, stop eating, right? It's very clear. It's crystal clear. Stop eating now. And that's something I never really had experienced through all the other diets that I'd done. Even when I was in ketosis, right? Doing a ketogenic diet. It really helped because it lowered your appetite a lot and you tended to just not eat as much food. But really having that sense of satiety, right? Sense of fullness and satisfaction when you're eating wasn't there. And when taking the Wegovy, it brought that upon you pretty fast. So that's why the portion sizes need to be smaller. Because if you tended to eat more food, you were going to find yourself in a world of hurt. Because if you eat too much when you're taking the drug, you're going to regret it. So what were my results? In the first month on Wegovy, I was able to lose 10 pounds. Now you might say, 10 pounds? That's not a lot. So I went from 230 down to 220. Hey, 10 pounds in a month, that's a lot. Ask any doctor. And after about a year of being on Wegovy, working with the team at Form Health, I was able to lose 35 pounds. Now, I had way more energy. I mean, like I was running up the stairs, taking the stairs, flying up the stairs, going down the stairs. My wife was like, dude, it's like you're a kid again, right? I truly, after losing 35 pounds, I felt like I was 16 again. So I went from feeling like a 50-year-old to feeling like a 16-year-old. And that's an amazing feeling. I had way much more energy, way much more life in me. I slept so much better, so much better. And not only that, but I also looked better. and I felt better, right? My energy, like it's like I had life in me again. When you go from 230 pounds down to 195, you feel much better. And it was kind of expensive. I'm not going to lie. It was expensive. I'm not going to hide the fact that it was expensive. The Form Health service at the time that I took it, I think it was like $200 a month. Plus, I had my copay for the Wegovy. I can't remember how much that was, right? But the most expensive thing, perhaps, was the clothes. I basically had to go and, get some new clothes. When you lose 35 pounds, you got to get new clothes. And that was pretty cool. But it wasn't easy. I don't want you to think that this was easy. It was not easy because there are side effects when you take Wegovy. When you take GLP-1 drugs, there are side effects. Some of these side effects are quality of life altering side effects. So let's talk about it. Crazy gas. In and out. Regular constipation. For me, it was almost like a certain day of the week was going to be constipated. Weekly bouts of diarrhea. Also low energy. There'd be days I'd be out working in the yard and bend over and stand up and get kind of dizzy, right? Nausea and dizziness are kind of part of it. One of the things I did personally to mitigate or minimize some of the nausea was that I would always take my medication at night before bed, because I learned when I would take it in the morning, then I felt bad during the day and had nausea or dizziness or whatever, whatever side effects that happened while I was at work. And that wasn't cool. I really wasn't nauseous very often at all, I would say. Probably more dizzy or just kind of feeling a little kind of glurpy, if you will. Like most days after I've taken a dose of the GLP-1, you don't really want to eat very much. You don't really have an appetite. You kind of feel like eating is like, ugh, right? You don't really want to do it. So those are the side effects of the GLP-1. But again, it's different for everybody. The most important thing that I found was almost like a degree of mental clarity and peace, because no longer was food and eating kind of like a thing in my head. You know what I mean? Head hunger, it just went away. Wegovy wasn't a complete win though, because eventually my weight loss plateaued. And then, let's see, this was around the fall, winter of 2023, and my weight loss began to plateau. And then the holidays came, and during the holidays, I started slacking off, and my weight kind of started going back up again. So, when I think back to why that may have happened, it fundamentally came down to the things that I was doing before that brought me success, I had stopped doing. I wasn't doing intermittent fasting. I was no longer making and preparing my own meals, right? And I wasn't walking and exercising as much because it was wintertime. I wasn't getting outside as much. So really, I think those three things led to me gaining more weight, besides the fact that it was the holidays, had friends and family around, and, everybody's eating and making Festivus or whatever. And so my weight started going back up. Didn't go up a lot, but it plateaued and then kind of started climbing. It was time for a change. And in January of 2024, Eli Lilly got FDA approval for a different type of GLP-1 drug. It's called Zepbound. And during my first appointment in January 2024 with the Form Health team, my doctor said, "Hey, notice that your weight's starting to creep up. What do you think's going on?" And I said, "Yeah, I think it's more my compliance and everything." And she said, "Well, how's your side effects going?" I was like, "Well, I'm still having the issues with, the gas, the diarrhea, and the constipation." And she said, "Well, listen, Eli Lilly just got approved there's Zepbound GLP-1. Why don't we switch you over? We'll start you on a very low dose and see how you tolerate it, because the clinical data suggests that the side effects might be less for you. She said, hey, I think this might kickstart your weight loss again. Let's give it a try. So I said, hey, let's go. It was really the same thing. It's a pen. You dispensed it just like the other Wegovy. So I said, hey, I'm going to give Zepbound a try now, because one of the things I realized is when it comes to losing weight and having a team, you got to try different things at different seasons, right, of our life. And so it was time to make a change. And so I switched from Wegovy to Zepbound. So let me give a shout out to my Form Health team. I'm talking about Brooke and Joanna. Thank you so much for helping me lose weight. You all have been a godsend, and I really appreciate your friendly smile and compassionate and caring advice that you gave to me throughout my journey. Thank you all so much. So besides taking the dose every week, nothing really changed, except for, guess what I did? I went back to being consistent. Intermittent fasting, preparing my own meals, going to the gym so I can get the exercise, the walking, and started some strength training. And the really cool thing with being consistent, dieting and exercising, meeting with my Form Health team, was that through that, I knew I had hope that I would start seeing results again. And I did. And boy, did I. And boy, did I lose weight. After the initial titration period, pretty much most of the side effects I was having really subsided. I mean, the gas all but went away. The diarrhea all but subsided. It didn't go away. It hasn't gone away. It's just that it was at a level now that was manageable. Constipation went away, and that was great. So now I could take the dose without fear of the side effects, and I could kind of start living life a little bit more, right? Don't get me wrong, those side effects were still there. It's just, if there was an 8 out of 10 before with Wegovy, it was now like a 4. And that was much better. Much better. The best thing of all, when I started taking Zepbound, I started losing weight again. So in January of 2024, when I started with Zepbound, I weighed 199 pounds at this point. By April, I was down to 181 pounds. Now, I have to tell you, I hadn't seen a scale say 181 pounds since I was in high school. And that's an amazing feeling, to be over 50, get on the scale, and weigh a weight that you weighed in high school. That was awesome. Now, you might think, okay, you went from 199 to 181, so big deal. That's not a lot of weight, Q. Yeah, but at this point, I had to completely replace pretty much 80% of my clothes. Some cases, there was this period of like maybe 6 weeks, I went through 3 pairs of pants, like 3 pairs of new pants that I had to buy. I was at a size 44, and I went to 40. And I went to 36. So I went through 3 sizes. It's kind of expensive. Don't worry though. Don't worry. I gave them to charity. So somebody benefited from me having to buy new pants. The most important thing through all of this over the last 2 years of my life of losing weight really comes down to these basic principles of consistency trumps intensity. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and it's better to be roughly right than precisely wrong. Let me unwrap that a little bit for you. Obviously, being consistent is really important. And I've talked about that already, of how I was consistent. And when I wasn't consistent, I started to not see results. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It really comes down to this, right? If you're trying to lose weight, you got to give your body time to adjust. Even though I was taking GLP-1s and eating less food and exercising and everything, it still took time. And I had to give my body time to adapt and adjust to a new way of life. It took a long time to get up to 230 pounds. It didn't happen overnight. So you can't expect to be the hare. You got to be the tortoise here when it comes to losing weight. Consistent, steady plotting will bring you success. And lastly, it's better to be roughly right than precisely wrong. I'd done diets before where you're counting every calorie, counting every macro, measuring all the food, but I found success when all I did was take a picture. I was roughly right, and that's all I needed to do was take a picture and share it with my dietitian and get feedback. And over time, I learned how to eat better and how to eat the right amount of food. So roughly right was exactly what I needed. I didn't need precision to be successful at weight loss. Ultimately, losing weight in a slow and steady manner gave my mind and my body an opportunity to adapt and adjust to my new way of life, which was basically eating less food, right? So 1 year later, in January of 2025, I had successfully lost over 50 pounds, and my new weight is down to 165, which is where I am today. I'll say that my weight kind of ebbs and flows a couple pounds over the course of a couple weeks. It'll go down 2 pounds and go up 2 pounds. It'll go down 2 pounds and go up 2 pounds. But I pretty much stay between 162 and 165 pretty consistently now. So my team at Form Health said, hey man, you have done a fabulous job of losing weight. You don't need to keep taking the high dose. I never got up to the maximum dose of Zepbound. I only got up to 10 milligrams and was able to see the clinical benefit. But actually, my doctor said, okay, hey, listen, you need to slow down. You can't lose more weight because, she was afraid of me losing too much more muscle mass in the process, right? And so I'm now on a maintenance dose. I went back down to not the smallest dose of 2.5. I'm at a 5 milligrams per week dose now. And that's enabling me to maintain a healthy weight with very little to no side effects. What a difference getting help made in my life. Getting help from a team, getting help from a drug. It took both to really bring success for me. And ultimately, it took me deciding to get help once and for all, getting help and paying the cost, right? Being consistent, making a plan, and working the process slowly and steadily. And I was able to achieve my goal. Now, listen, my goal was to get to 175. When I got to 175, they were like, keep going, Q. You can make it. You can keep going. So I lost another 10 pounds, right? It's amazing. And I had to buy another set of clothes. I went from being extra, extra large, having to buy clothes in the big and tall section at the store, which was really hard because I'm not tall. I was just big, okay? So my pants were always too long and the sleeves were always too long and everything I bought. And now I was able to go to the store and buy a medium shirt and a size 34 pants. That I never thought I would be able to do. So at the end of the day, it wasn't one thing. It was the whole solution. I got help. Zepbound provided control. The Form Health team provided guidance. And I slowly but surely changed and shrunk once and for all. All right, so to wrap things up, I'm still taking the Zepbound. I take it once a week. I'm still eating well, still exercising, still being consistent. I would say I probably don't do intermittent fasting anymore. My doctor's actually like, no, it's okay to eat a snack at night now. I want you to have a protein snack or something like that. But I'm staying at a consistent weight. And the great thing about it is the benefits of taking the GLP-1 tirzepatide in the form of Zepbound is that those benefits I talked about earlier, where I have mental clarity in the sense that food is no longer like this thing following me around, right? The head hunger is gone. And I feel like I have freedom. I can go to events and barbecues and cookouts and family dinners and things like that, and I'm not worried about eating too much food and then feeling guilty because I ate too much food. Because those feelings of guilt a lot of times will just drive you backwards, right? And the Zepbound really helped me overcome that. The GLP-1s really helped me overcome a lifetime of bad habits. Now, I know GLP-1 drugs are expensive, and the Form Health service may not be something you can afford, but that doesn't matter because you can get help. And you can start doing some of the other more consistent things like consistently eating less food, consistently making your own meals, consistently intermittent fasting, and consistently exercising. Those are all things you can do. But whatever you do, get help. Even if it's just somebody at school, somebody at church, someone at work. If you have an EAP service at work, there are people there that will help you because doing it by yourself is really, really difficult. You don't have to pay for help. I'm sure there's someone out there that can help you. And get on a team, right? Join with somebody else doing these same things. Don't try to do it by yourself. It's too hard to change the physics, the metabolics in your body. It's too hard to change your mindset from eating the way you've been eating to eating a completely different way. It is very difficult to do it by yourself. You need help. Get a partner or partners to be successful. So here's your call to action. Number 1, get help. Stop trying to lose weight on your own. There are many resources out there that can help you lose weight. So go find them and get them on your team. The older we get, the harder it is to lose weight. So stop procrastinating, stop making excuses for not getting help. Because I'm telling you, that was the key to my success, is getting help. If you're over 40, 50, or even 60 years old, there's still time. If you get help from a professional weight loss team or program or similar solutions, there's still time for you. Go get the help you need. I hope my story has inspired you to get help. And if you've had similar struggles or victories with weight loss, please share them in the comments. It'll really help out the community. Be sure to subscribe if you like this content. And if you're still here, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. Take care, everybody.